Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Here to talk all things hockey are your hosts, Brad Crisco, Ryan Hanna, and Evan Lobsinger.
If you take the highlights of the home opener, goals, fights, scrums, penalties, and everything, and just play it all in 30 seconds, you could use it as a 5-gum ad. Jesus. I'm not even trying to be funny here. Like, genuinely, like, what was that game?
We said if they were going to be bad, hopefully that at least be exciting. Nailed it.
I know they just blew a 3-goal lead and lost in overtime in a devastating way, but that has to be the most entertaining Detroit Red Wings game I've watched in a long time. And there have been entertaining ones. Like, Verona joined the team and scored 4 goals. Like, there's not been a lack of any entertainment over the past season or two. But, oh my goodness, was that game insane. It kept Evan awake past his bedtime. He's
way past my bedtime.
He's whining and moaning, as you will be able to see. But genuinely, if the game's exciting enough to keep Evan up, that's a testament to something.
Just truly is an abusive relationship. Just when you think the Red Wings might have turned a little bit of a corner. Up 6-3. Was that the biggest lead? 4-1 was the biggest? Oh, that's a problem. They had a 4-1 lead.
Yeah, see? There it goes. Was it 4-1 at some point?
I think so.
Yes, it was.
Who can remember? I think there was every possible score combination.
That was in the first period 6 hours ago.
Someone in the... we did a YouTube live stream, kind of impromptu, as you might be able to tell if you were in there. Someone said, hope you took the over on this game. Oh my God, 13 goals.
I think the Red Wings themselves covered the over. I think it was either 5.5 or 6.5.
If it was
5.5, they were dancing right around it.
Yeah. It was like 25 or 26 shots, too. Like, Vasilevsky was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Bad game. Okay, before we get into all that, let's jump in with an intro. Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. The puck has dropped. We have a game under our belts. Red Wings hockey is back, and I mean that in every sense of the word. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Hanna.
I'm Brad Crisco.
And I'm Evan.
On the docket today, we are obviously going to talk about what just happened in that home opener. I came into this episode worried it'd be a boring one, and that is absolutely not an issue. We recorded an interview with Ken Daniels, lead announcer for the Detroit Red Wings, before today. So this is it's a pre-home opener interview just to talk about the outlook for the season for the team. So we'll jump to that as well, and we'll take some overtime questions. It is very late right now, and so I don't know how long this episode will last. We'll probably just cover the game and that's it before jumping into some overtime questions. All right, let's talk about the game and let's talk about, I think, it's insane to think that there's an obvious biggest story here, but the biggest story of the game has to be Dylan Larkin being ejected for what did they call it? Attempt to injure on Matthew Joseph?
I don't know. Are we going to start with that because that's going to turn into a broader conversation on the refs because that was a bit of a shit show.
Well,
and that could turn into a broader conversation about the direction the league wants to head this year with said refs.
We're going to start with that, and if we need to put a pin in it, we will.
Okay.
For those who haven't watched, or for those who just love hearing us talk about crazy shit, what happened was Dylan Larkin was hit from behind into the boards by Matthew Joseph. Dylan Larkin, who literally just played his first regular season game since being on the receiving end of a dirty cheap shot by Jamie Benn towards the end of last season, went through a grueling neck injury and recovery where he barely avoided surgery. First game back, hit from behind, no call on the play. Joseph ended up with a roughing penalty at the end of all this.
Yeah.
Nothing was called on the hit behind.
Yeah, because I know we were tweeting about this, and some people were in my comments. I can't believe Matthew Joseph only got 2 minutes for that. He did not get a penalty for that.
No.
He got a penalty, a 2-minute roughing, for the scrum after.
Yes.
So let's be clear. He did not receive a penalty for what is likely a suspendable hit from behind.
Larkin got up, saw Joseph, and immediately swung at his face. I punched him as he was skating away. And it was funny because as we were live streaming, and so we were kind of just watching the game, and on the height of emotions, I was like, I don't know if I'm being biased here, but it looked like he just kind of glanced Joseph, and Joseph went down pretty easy. And then they showed like a third replay, and Joseph's face like contorted like when someone gets punched in boxing. I was like, we were all like, oh no, he connected. And then a scrum ensued. Bertuzzi, Larkin, both gloves off immediately, obviously. And yeah, Larkin got 5 in a game, and Joseph got a 2-minute minor, and someone else got a 2-minute minor, and that was it.
Yep. Detroit ended up with a 4-on-3 power play coming out of it immediately because of one of the Tampa guys getting third man in or something like that. But because of the major, Tampa ended up with a 3-minute power play after that, to which John Cooper was angry because
he was pissed off.
I don't know. Detroit scored on the 4-on-3, and then Tampa scored 2 on the major, so worked out for him. And Detroit was missing their best player for the rest of the game because this was early in the second,
or
was it in the first?
I'm trying to look up the box score.
Yeah, I can't remember. But either way, the Red Wings were without Dylan Larkin for most of the game. And I mean, I know it's a coach's job to get on the refs so his team knows he's fighting for them, but that one came off to me as a pretty bad look just because of Matthew Joseph should have also pretty obviously been tossed from the game. So if the only bad thing that came out of that for Tampa was a 2-minute penalty kill,
halfway through the second,
through the second, yeah. So Detroit went half the game without Larkin. I don't know. That's the type of stuff that bothers me. If a coach wants to yell for a trip that wasn't called or a rough that was called that he felt, sure, I get it. I get your players get fired up when the coach gets fired up, and that's every coach should yell about every call. Like, I get it. But man, when you have your W, take it. Even if you only bark at the ref for 10 seconds just to get a point across, then shut up. Okay, fine. There was people who legit thought Cooper was going to get tossed for how much he was yelling, and I could not wrap my head around why he was that angry.
I don't give a shit about John Cooper yelling. Every coach will take it further than we think they need to. What I want to talk about, sorry, I actually just dismissed your point completely. What I mean to say is Blasio will do that. Cooper will do that.
Every coach does it, but he was going hard.
Okay, let's look at it from the other point of view. John Cooper doesn't care about, he doesn't really know the context, or is not thinking about the context of Dylan Larkin has been dummied and punked on and suckered so many times in his career.
Well, Larkin got tossed, so he shouldn't even care.
Right.
He came away victorious in that exchange.
He was wrong. I agree he was wrong. Anyhow, Larkin being ejected, coming away, cooling down as a fan watching the play, my read is, outside of everything else, yeah, that's the right call.
Yeah, Larkin, he cold cocked a guy. That's
definitely can't be. He got his money's worth. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. You don't want to, if you're going to cold cock a guy, you connect.
Yes.
And he did, and he got tossed, and that is the right call. So I'm not saying, oh yeah, Larkin should have got a 2-minute roughing for punching a dude square in the jaw, UFC style. Okay. No, it's fine, but man, the NHL wanted to crack down on cross-checking, period, and Larkin gets cross-checked from behind, head first into the boards, and there's not even a penalty on the play. No wonder he sucker punched the guy.
I agree he should have got tossed, and I agree that Larkin should have defended himself there.
Yeah.
It's meathead hockey, that's just the caveman in us talking, but you got to defend yourself. There's too many instances of this happening to Larkin, and as we saw, by no penalty called on the play, the refs and the Department of Player Safety has never and will never defend Larkin on that play. I'm happy he took it into his own hands. I'm happy.
Yeah, and I was talking about this earlier. Now, I'll have to get into a broader point after because perspective changed as the game went on. But at the moment of that play, the first thing I thought of was the Milan Lucic Ryan Miller incident from years ago, where Lucic barreled over Miller in a pretty dirty play.
Yeah.
And the Buffalo Sabres did
jack
nothing.
Shit. Yeah, I remember.
They let him get away with it. Steve Dangle did a video on that a while back, and it was a very good video, and he called it the punk test. That was the Bruins punking the Sabres, going, we can do whatever we want, and you can't touch us. So a hit like that, that's a punk test. If you get up and do nothing, Tampa knows they can do whatever the hell they want in your barn to your best player, and it doesn't matter. Bertuzzi and Larkin said, nope.
Yep.
Not doing that shit to us. So Matthew Joseph will probably think twice before doing that because Larkin will try and rearrange his jaw again. Which, again, I understand hockey culture is stupid, broken, and none of this shit should apply, and the refs should just do their goddamn job, so this isn't even an issue. I get all that, but since the refs in this league for years and years and decades are incapable of protecting the players, the punk test applies, and the Red Wings have to pass it. And at that moment in time, they passed it. And unfortunately, because of all that shit that went down there, the game devolved. Nothing of that was getting called. And it led directly to an identical hit on Michael Rasmussen in the third period.
Well, they learned, Brad. They gave it a minor. Yeah, they learned. Don't worry.
And because it was a 1 or 2 goal game at that point, late in the third period, the Red Wings could not pass the punk test because they could not afford to give up the power play. They could not afford to give Tampa power play. They could not afford to let Tampa back in the game. Now the Red Wings, being who they are as a team, did that anyway. But it's unacceptable. I think this was Eric Furlat and somebody, one of the more veteran referee combos in the NHL. So I don't know if they live by this old school code. And I'm not even going to get on them about the ticky-tack hooks and trips and all the other garbage they missed. I don't even care about that. That's not a player safety problem. The Red Wings had 2 players who could have suffered severe injuries, like broken necks or concussions, on these 2 plays. Both Tampa players got to continue in the game. One of the Red Wings didn't, and one of the Tampa players who should have been tossed scored the overtime winner. Mm-hmm. I am not the guy to sit here and blame a loss on a ref. I am not. Every Red game, every hockey game in the NHL is for the most part poorly reffed. I get it. It's going to go your way some nights. It's going to go against you some ways. It usually doesn't go so far as to actually swing a game, even if you think it does. Tonight went far enough to swing a game because the guy who scored the overtime winner shouldn't have been playing. If it was a major on that hit with like 6 minutes left, the Red Wings have a power play with a 2-goal lead basically to run the game out. So Tampa probably doesn't catch up there. But more importantly, players could have got hurt severely and nothing was done. And the NHL tried to crack down on this cross-checking mandate in the offseason, and then you get this game 1.
Evan,
come on.
Evan, I am legally required to stop Brad from speaking for more than 7 minutes without a breath. His doctors have called me a couple times.
We don't have that insurance liability.
No, we don't pay for that insurance, so we need to jump in. The ref show was annoying. And it was annoying, I think, especially as a Red Wings fan, because of how ineffectual the penalty kill was. Tampa Bay's hyper-talented Stanley Cup champion level players dissected the Red Wings power play however many times that was, which ultimately led to them coming back and winning the game. One last thing on the Larkin conversation. Suspension or no suspension, what do you anticipate is incoming?
Spin the wheel. Could be 7, could be nothing.
I have to imagine, and if you think that this justification is bullshit, you're right, but welcome to the Department of Player Safety. I have to imagine that because he missed half a game in which Tampa Bay came back and won it, the league will look at that and say, that's pain enough. Yeah, that's pain enough right there, right? Like the Wings lost their game, like that made an impact on the ice. This is signed and sealed. And also the refs missed an egregious hit from behind. So I'm guessing no suspension, maybe a fine because it was I don't know. But then again, they did call it like an attempt to injure or whatever. I don't know.
Usually when someone gets tossed from a game, if it's a borderline suspension, it usually doesn't end in a suspension. I'd love to say that Plot and Joseph should probably get 1 game each.
They won't get looked at. Guaranteed.
They're not even a fine. I 1,000% know that, even though they should. But no, with Larkin getting tossed from the game, usually that's punishment enough if it's nothing severe, which I don't think this is.
I may have I will admit I may have blinders on right now. We might be looking at a game or 2 just because it was like a very concerted punch face. A cold cock. Darren McCarty quote, it's not a sucker punch, it's a cold cock. There's a difference. Yeah. But it was an attempt. It's just annoying because they're going to look at it in a vacuum and everyone who has eyes saw that and said, well, no, because there's context to it. Anyhow, even if Larkin gets suspended 2 games, I honestly say good on him. Good on him because he got his money's worth at least. What did no one doing anything to Jamie Benn do? Nothing. What did no one doing anything to any time Larkin got absolutely obliterated with a dirty hit? Anyhow, let's talk about a happy note. Tyler Bertuzzi hasn't played hockey in roughly 36 months, it feels like. Had that terrible injury, had surgery, had to recover from back surgery, really had to deal with the rust and everything of the offseason. First regular season game back, absolutely electric. Detroit's best player, 4-goal night on an opening night, Anthony Mantha style. Holy shit, did this team miss Tyler Bertuzzi?
And one of them was a goal of the year candidate where he pulled it through his own legs, split through Victor Hedman and Mikhail Sergachev, and then ripped it blocker side on Vasilevsky. His skating tonight still looked bad, like rusty, and he was so effective with the puck, it didn't even matter.
This bodes well for me because my beer league, the first game of the year, is on Sunday, and I haven't played in what is probably 36 months. So if I don't put up 4 goals, I'll be very disappointed in myself.
You gotta rip it between your feet and.
I got the tinted visor ready to go.
Oh yeah, no, it was, and his goal got Moritz Seider his first point.
Yep,
first point in his NHL career. He actually had 2 that night on Bertuzzi's 4th goal coming out of the box. Off of, Bertuzzi was in the box for a pretty fair penalty. It was actually 2 penalties in 1, really. Came out, beat the Tampa Bay defense to the puck, beat Vasilevsky, who was terrible all night, and Moritz Seider got 2 points. So he might not hit 164 points on the year, but we can probably pencil him in for 150 in the Calder now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Lucas Raymond as well. I think the game got insane, and so I can't tell if I just stopped noticing Lucas Raymond or his ice time decreased or he was just a bit overshadowed by everything going on. He did play 16 minutes.
And his centerman did get tossed halfway through.
Right. The second line, like Fabry, Suter, Zadina, they got quite a bit of usage after that.
And there was also a lot of PK time in the second half of the game, which Lucas Raymond doesn't play, and not a lot of power play time.
Anyways, Lucas Raymond, when he was out there and was, not overshadowed by whatever was going on in this circus of a game, looked excellent. Same thing as we saw. He was dangerous from that spot on the power play. He set up a lot of quality scoring chances. His pass to Robbie Fabry, who had a gorgeous one-touch pass to Bertuzzi for the hat trick, right?
Well, yeah, Fabry gets the primary assist on that, but Raymond set Bertuzzi up for that goal because when Raymond took the center of the ice, the Tampa defenseman had no choice but to follow him over as he took the space he got. So when he put the puck to Fabry, who was in the direction that Raymond was moving, it opened up space for Bertuzzi on the back door because that defenseman had to circle out. So it's just a smart hockey play that, it goes down as a secondary assist, but he's the one who made it happen.
Yeah. He's, I don't know how many games he'll end up playing. Obviously, one game does not decide everything, but in a game with this much physicality, this much mayhem, this much chaos and stuff between the whistles, that was a really good showing, I felt, from both Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider. And we didn't even talk about Moritz Seider's highlight of the night, which wasn't a pass, it wasn't a goal, nothing like that.
It was a steal.
It was a steal. It was... Well, you love it, Brad. You walk.
It's my favorite moment of the entire night by far. It's just like nothing's happening between the whistles. I don't know if there was a bit of a scrum beforehand or whatever, but everybody's skating to their bench, and Victor Hedman's kind of just playing around with the puck a little bit as Mo Seider's skating past him, and Seider's like, nope, that's my puck, takes it from Hedman. And then another Tampa player comes over to get it back, and Seider just fires it away into the boards with one hand. And then when whoever that was in Hedman step up to confront Seider, I was like, what, you want to do something about it?
Sergachev.
Yeah.
I'll take a Seider-Sergachev matchup. I thought that would have been a good go.
Yeah, not passing the punk test while stealing the puck in between whistles from a back-to-back Cup champion and former Norris Trophy winner and one of the best defensemen in the league. Yep. Nope. Not intimidated at all. Love it.
Prashant had a tweet after the game, which I thought was really apt. It was a shitty loss. It was a terrible way to lose. Terrible way to lose. Good thing I don't talk on a podcast. Terrible way to lose, obviously blowing that lead. But that has to be one of the most fun games we've watched in a long time.
Our biggest complaint the last 2 years were the Red Wings were bad and boring. Tonight, they were mostly just bad.
About the bad. The DeKaiser-Hronek pairing.
was atrocious.
That's going to be a problem if it sticks.
Yeah. Letty Seider was as good as a pairing could be against Tampa's offense, which is still more towards the ungood side, but they treaded water.
I actually thought they were good overall.
They were the best pairing on the for the team that allowed 7 goals. Hronek and DeKeyser, they were pick whatever argument you want to say bad defense looks like, and they checked that box. A step slow, yep. Giveaways, yep. Out of position often, yep. Poor reads, yep. It was all there. There was almost no redeeming factors for either of them tonight, which was for DeKeyser, quite honestly, expected. But for Hronek, we were really hoping for a bounce back. Now, we're recording this immediately after the game, so I've had zero time to go back and watch back some of the plays that stand out to me, and I
need to take beta blockers if I watch the footage of this game again.
No, because I try to put context to a lot of the situations. If I'm going to really dump on a player, I do want that second look. Like, did Hronek get burned on this play because he was covering for DeKeyser or something like that?
Yeah.
I have none of that context right now. I just have as basically the live viewing. But yeah, for our hope of Hronek bouncing back this year, this is about as poor of a start as could have been imagined.
Hronek needs a Letty as much as Seider needed a Letty.
Yeah.
And maybe not Letty moves the puck up the ice and is offensive, and maybe that's not what Hronek needs. Maybe he needs the inverse, but you need a stabilizing presence. And look, I have a lot of admiration as a Red Wings fan. There's obviously an emotional part to watching Danny DeKeyser play and knowing the injuries he's gone through. And it's one game, he's gone through a lot of tough injuries. Maybe he bounces back this season, but the way it's trending, they need to get a more capable person on the left, capable player on the left side of the defense to play with Hronek, especially with the kind of minutes they want Hronek playing. You can't have Danny D playing 21 minutes unless you want Shane Wright, in which case, by all means. This,
they really are deploying DeKeyser for all the right reasons.
I would totally just put Troy Stetcher on the other side. Like, play him on his offside. Like, could it possibly be worse? I would say no.
Stetcher should have been in the lineup to begin with, but I'm going to say
Lindstrom
this.
Did well, though.
He was all right tonight. Yeah, he had that one really nice pass that led to Bertuzzi's second or third goal.
Second.
I say this. We've made jokes like this previously about a billion players, and most of it sarcastically, but I'm about to make a statement that sounds sarcastic, but I need everybody to understand I mean this 100% literally. Filip Hronek is better off if they put literally any other defenseman on his pairing this year. DeKeyser, of the 8 Red Wings defensemen who are up, is the weakest link right now, and I don't think it's particularly close now that Mark Stahl has had his quote-unquote career resurgence, regressing from one of the worst defensemen into the league to like slightly below average now. You put Osterley, Stetcher, Stahl, or Lindstrom there, and it's only going to help Hronek. DeKeyser, last year, towards the end of the year, my observations of him were it looked like he was trying to make the right play and his body just couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Tonight, I didn't even see that. He looked lost out there. He looked like he didn't know who to cover, what the right play was. First game of the season, rusty. I can definitely say that for more than just him. But the other players I can say that about at least still have the physical tools to compensate for some of their poor decisions. DeKeyser doesn't have that. So when he's making poor decisions or blowing coverage, he is not an NHL player. He can't be with his body the way it is now.
Other highlights of this game. Anything stand out to you guys? Actually, let me talk about Alex Nedeljkovic quickly.
That was going to be mine.
You go for it.
Well, I probably wasn't going to say as many words. I was just going to say I thought he looked pretty good considering some of the fire he was under and the lack of defending there was at times out front of the net.
Yeah, all of those words in that sentence can be weighted heavily.
Yes. Welcome to Detroit.
Big time welcome to Detroit. I agree. Ned, especially at the start, I felt, Nedeljkovic is more than holding his own here. Even the pucks that started to end up going in, I was like, they got him sliding left, right, up and down, on the penalty kill.
Yeah, Stamkos and Kucherov one-timers from their spots. Yeah, no, it's totally the goalie's fault on those ones.
Yeah, Stamkos could be 45 years old and completely washed and will still rip those home from his spot. And Nikita Kucherov is one of the best players on the planet. So I thought he was good. Did it start to fall apart? Did he start to fall apart with the defense? Yeah. Do I necessarily take that as a bad sign? No. It sounds ridiculous to say all these good things about a team that just blew 3-goal leads, lost in overtime, a goalie led in 7 goals, but genuinely, the things you saw from Ned at the start, the things you saw from the Red Wings from a lot of the game, those are the good signs that you look for. And for a team that's not going to look for wins in the win column or points in the standings necessarily as an indicator of what success is, overall, there are a lot of good and bad, but a lot of good learnings to come from this. So Ned, great game? No, he let in 7 goals. Good game, all things considered. I'll give him that point. People are going to argue and say he let in 7 goals. You're making excuses for the guy. You genuinely have to look at the context of the game. I don't blame him for going down with the ship with the defense today.
Yeah, that giveaway he had looked bad, but
that was ungood.
It was ungood, but watching live, I definitely picked up a defenseman, or it could have been a Tampa player trolling. I don't know. But I definitely heard someone yelling, leave it, leave it, leave it, when it looked like Nedeljkovic was going to rim it around. DeKeyser was the next person there, but he had, I want to say it was Alex Killorn, all over him. So if it was DeKeyser yelling, leave it, he definitely shouldn't have been. That puck should have just been off Nedeljkovic's stick, off the glass, and then it ends up wherever it ends up. It was a wrong play. Could you fault Nedeljkovic for just blindly trusting a voice behind him?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Have to.
You can. Because guys will try to trick you. And if it was Killorn yelling it, job well done.
The oldest trick in the book.
But yeah, so either way, like when a guy's coming in on you fast, you got to make a split-second decision. You at least understand it.
It's helpful for Nedeljkovic's case to think that the only person who might want that night back more than him very well could have been Vasilevsky. If it wasn't for that 3-on-3 where Bertuzzi, Letty, and who else was it? We got hemmed in for like 3 minutes. Fabry. They
2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yeah, where they just had to end up standing there because they couldn't move.
Stood still. They could not move in overtime.
2 minutes and 15 seconds without touching the puck.
2 minutes and 15 seconds of NHL level 3-on-3 against a team that just won the cup back to back. There have never been 3 more tired hockey players in modern NHL history. Like genuinely. Yeah.
I want to get into a rant about abolish the over and back rule, but I do not have the energy to complain more tonight.
Yeah. All in all, Ned showed enough where I feel good about he's gonna have to get used to games like this. Like this is what the Red Wings are on defense.
It was good this happened game 1 because now he knows what he's in for.
Moritz Seider, I thought looked more. There were times, especially early on, where I thought he looked really nervous. I thought his stride looked like locked up. The guy was hardly moving. But he warmed up as the game went on. And in a game like this, for him to have graded out as well as he did, I thought was impressive. Lucas Raymond again, obviously, as we talked about. But the defense overall, it's Letty on the left side, and that's it. Like that's going to be. When we talk about the Red Wings still being, a basement team, more or less, and people are like, why? They improved so much. Could they push for the playoffs? This is what, if they do fall to the basement, this will be their undoing is the defense.
Yeah, they still got to overtime with the Cup champs. We can't take that away.
Yeah.
But in a scoreline where you see 7-6, it's easy to just assume everything changed offensively, and it didn't. We all know the jokes about the Red Wings going into the third period with a 1 or 2 goal lead about how they just caved, shut down, yada, yada, yada. They did. Again, shots were 20-20 at one point, and I think they finished, 45-25?
Oh my God, Nedeljkovic.
I think he had 48 shots at him.
48? Yeah, okay.
Jesus.
So the Red Wings did that age-old, we're just going to cave and collapse and defend the lead in the third period, and it almost never effing works, and it cost them again tonight. And because Bertuzzi's goal in the third period, let's be honest, that was a fluke at the end of a power play where he just happened to come out of the box at the right time, and Tampa gifted him a goal. Yeah, the Rasmussen and Nemesnikov one, that was legit attacking of the offensive zone and what they should have done a lot more of in the third period, because, hey, it worked on that one. But yeah, no, this wasn't a completely different process of a loss last year. There was a lot of improvements. The power play, when they got possession of in the offensive zone looked a lot better. They still had a lot of trouble getting it there. But when it got there, it was notably better, way more puck movement, way more general movement by players away from the puck. And players were trying more things. Like, I mean, Bertuzzi tried the through the legs move and it worked. So there was a bit more offensive creativity, but it wasn't a fully new game plan, and some old habits burned them.
Okay. This is a late night episode, so there's a lot more to talk about with the home opener. We had a lot of talk about strategy and systems about the penalty kill during the live stream. We'll chat more about that.
Spoiler, it's bad.
Probably next episode. But for now, I do want to jump into our chat with Ken. And I realize now that we didn't do the Jamie Daniels Foundation copy read. So sorry about that. That's something I usually like to start the show with. And you'll see a little bit when we talk with Ken about why we're partnered with the Jamie Daniels Foundation. But for new listeners, and of course, returning listeners, the more we talk about substance use disorder, the faster we can end the stigma and get support to those in need. The Jamie Daniels Foundation is a children's foundation initiative, and it was established in memory of Jamie Daniels and founded by Jamie's father and Red Wings lead announcer Ken Daniels and Jamie's mother, Lisa Daniels Goldman. They strive to end the stigma of substance use disorder and provide support to those struggling with the disease or who are in recovery. To learn more and offer your support, visit jamiedanielsfoundation.org. And obviously, we love having Ken Daniels on the show. Like I mentioned, we chatted with him before tonight's home opener, so you have a little bit of a pre-mayhem commentary from Ken as we get an outlook on the season, Raymond, Seider, the roster decisions that were made before today. So without further ado, enjoy this interview with recurring and one of our favorite guests, Ken Daniels. All right, Ken, this is our usual game now. I don't even know if I need to do an intro anymore.
No, it's okay. You don't need to.
All right. We're recording this 2 days before the season. So with our luck, 11 things will change between now and then. But Red Wings season is underway. We have roster decisions. By the time people hear this, there will have been an opening night game played. Lucas Raymond has made the team. Moritz Seider has obviously made the team. What do you make of everything leading up into October 14th here?
Well, in general, I think that the defense is pretty good. I mean, really, I'd say as good as more than a quarter of the teams in the league in terms of depth, maybe half, maybe right there in the middle in terms of depth. I'm not saying they're going to perform that way. But when you look down at that group of 8, and maybe you take, okay, if it's Lindstrom and Seider, we saw in the preseason, there's some mistakes there. Sure, it's going to happen. That's why I told you guys a while ago, let's not have too many expectations. He's 20, he's a kid. But overall, that group of 6, and then when you add Seider and Lindstrom, who are going to be fun to watch and see them grow in that way, I think their defense is very solid. I really do. And not that they're great point producers outside of Letty, and you hope Perona can come back. But overall, pretty good. So I like the team. I know starting out, people were talking about Bobby Ryan not being there. Okay, but as Steve said, it's not like Bobby may not be back if he doesn't catch on somewhere else, and he might. And there's going to be injuries, and there's going to be call-ups. So Lucas Raymond to try him out to start the season, good move.
You mentioned the defense, and that actually just pinged something in my head. The last time you were on, you said you wanted the listeners to tell you what they thought your call should be the first time Mo runs someone over, which we haven't seen yet. And the prevailing opinion seems to be mowed down or mowed over.
I like mowed over. There's a change in momentum, perhaps, with a big hit. But I like mowed over. I don't want to force it. Even when I was using the Datsuki and Deke, I tried not to. I could have used it every game, for goodness sake, but I didn't. So you try to go once every 5 games or something. And, I'll try not to overdo it. I'm waiting for the one good one. It's got to be a good one, at least, to get it out there.
Yeah. And, you mentioned, Mo he has to get accustomed. You saw him almost look and you saw the body movement where he wanted to run someone over, but he stayed restrained. He really didn't commit. It's coming, but I think it'll be a little while until he gets his feet under him.
Yeah, and I don't think you want to go looking for it, and that's when you get caught, and that's when you look really silly. So yeah, take your time and let the game come to you. You just got to feel it out first. And, we saw in the puck off his stick in a couple of plays. And again, he's a kid and they are kids. And we're going to see it from Raymond too. And we saw it from Zadina, who wasn't sure early going. So we're going to see that. That's why I said to you, Ryan, a long time ago, let's have no expectations other than let's see the progress that they're making as the season goes on. And that should be our expectation. Expect to see something growing as we go, whether it be through game 10. Now we're expecting to see something a little better at game 20, a little better at game 30. Just be happy with the progression.
Yeah, and I think that's why the whole Lucas Raymond thing has been so fun, because no one had really expectations for him to make the team out of camp. We all thought he'll be down in Grand Rapids with Berggren and Veleno, and this kid comes in and just and lights it up. What was that like to watch?
Yeah, I wasn't so sure he was going to be in Grand Rapids. When I heard the Verana injury, I wasn't so sure he was going to be in Grand Rapids. You may as well see what he has. And I know we talk about entry-level contracts and letting them slide, but I've spoken to many different management teams in the National Hockey League over the years and talking about that. And it also depends on how many contracts you've got coming up and what year as you look down the road, who's coming up year after year after year. And, you've got Seider and what bonuses are involved. Now you've got Seider and Raymond starting this year. You think Seider's going to play more than 9. Raymond can certainly play the 9 that Bertuzzi won't play in Canada, but whatever, and if he plays them all, do you let one slide? I don't think they're that worried about it. Like if he's playing well, he's going to play well. They'll worry about that later. I don't think the contract's the be all and end all, and they've still got lots of cap room. And I think as a management team, you figure that one out. But Raymond, when they talked about him, when he was drafted, and many said he's like a Mitch Marner. And you see the seam passes that he makes and the vision that he makes, and on the power play, which looks totally different, even using Hronek on the flank, and just you can see the passes that Raymond makes. So Alex Tanguay is going to be key, but he's got so many different parts with which to work, which is wonderful. But Raymond worked on his shot a lot. His, his standstill shot has got a lot better since he's worked at it, and he competes. He fights to get pucks back. So there's not much not to like, and why not get a look, especially early on, and see how he handles it, because what is going to be now middle October to the end of October is different than what it would have been end of September to last week. So he's going to meet some different competition. So let's see how he handles it. And if it's 9 games, great. And if it plays 15, beautiful. We'll see what happens. So I'm looking forward to seeing him.
You mentioned Bobby Ryan, and I know a lot of the fan base they didn't struggle with that. It was just, disappointing, because obviously he's an easy guy to root for. And people were thinking, well, Bobby Ryan goes, that means Veleno stays. But Veleno, at least for now, is down. We'll see what happens with injuries. Is it, I guess the question is, what's your take on the development of these prospects and your message to the fans, having seen so many players come up, the different pace at which they make the team, and the value of going down to develop and things like that?
There's certainly value going down. Veleno, whom you just mentioned, I think his value is, what will his offensive ceiling be? I've said it even a year ago that Veleno can be a third-line center in the NHL. No problem. He's added muscle. He looks stronger just looking at him. He's got speed. He's got smarts. He can play in his own zone. And so can Rasmussen play in his own zone. Very good defensively. But for Rasmussen, what's the offensive ceiling? For Veleno, what's the offensive ceiling? And that's where it's going to be. You're a third-line center. Can you become that second line? Who knows what Pius Suter is going to be, without maybe Patrick Kane, or he's got some good wingers to play with, but can he drive play enough? What's he going to be? So for Veleno, if you're going to improve your offense, and at the American Hockey League level, how can you make plays in tight? How quick are you finding guys, near the net? Can you make those plays? That's what we're going to see if Joe Veleno can do that. That's going to be really important. So I think him going down, playing with Jonathan Berggren, finding his way there, he's going to get called up. There's going to be injuries, so we're going to see him in time. So I think it's good. I think it's good. And Grand Rapids can use the time to see where he comes from.
And you mentioned Filip Zadina as well. That's another player where people have seen his development, and I know a lot of the numbers don't exactly line up for Filip Zadina, but anyone who watched him last year knows that he did take a lot of important steps in his game. Would you agree that this year would be a very important year in terms of him turning that development into pucks in the net or assists or basically just production on the ice? What's his season in terms of expectations in your mind?
Yeah, I don't know in terms of goals, because I'm not really sure where he's coming from in terms of goals right now. That's the great unknown. But what is he now, on a second line with Suter and Fabry?
That's right. Yeah.
It's not like I don't know. It's not like Suter's Jonathan Toews, and he was Jonathan Toews when Toews wasn't there in Chicago. But I don't think he's Jonathan Toews. But still, he can make plays, you know. Was for Zadina, I think he's learned the defensive part and knows that he has to be responsible. I think he is a good passer too. He can make plays. But can he find the space? Can he get the first 2 steps to get open? That's the thing for me to Zadina. It's not blazing speed. It's having the smarts, which I think he does. But can he find that space to get open? Can he make those give and go plays and find that little bit of room and then use that shot and get it off? That's going to be the big question. I really, it's a great question because I don't know. Is he a 15 goal scorer, 12 goals, 20 goals? I mean, I don't know what Rasmussen is if he's healthy. Can Rasmussen get 7 on the power play? You'd hope he'd get 10 at even strength, especially if he's third line, right? You'd hope. But is he 15 goals? Is he 20? Is he 12 goals? I don't know. I would hope that Rasmussen can score 15. I would hope that Zadina can score 15 to 20, considering where he's playing up in the lineup. But again, it's the great unknown right now.
The defense you said is really strong, and obviously Nick Leddy is a big driver of that. I think everyone knew Nick Leddy would be good coming into camp, but were you surprised at all to see how quickly that stood out, and how much of that was, you know, what the Red Wings have had in the past compared to now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. It stood out to what the Red Wings have had in the past till now. Yeah. When you just relied on Hronek basically to move the puck, and when Troy Stetcher decided he wanted to go once in a while. Right. For sure.
Yeah.
So Leddy, I think you're focused on Leddy in one hand and then just watching Seider and how Seider's reacting to Leddy, but Leddy's got the green light and then him on the power play. So I think it's great to see a defenseman actually move the puck. And the better he plays, the better return in the end at the trade deadline. And I think he's going to be a good mentor for Mo Seider. And, you know, again, I don't think pairs by any stretch. Like I always said to Jeff Blash, although it's a little different this year, perhaps we'll see how it goes. I used to say, who's with who tonight? And he goes, well, that's how we're going to start. And then, you know, a few minutes into the game, but all coaches can say that unless you've got those pairs that just aren't broken up. Even Tortorella would break up Jones and Werenski, right? When things weren't going well, you'd think, but if they weren't going well, they'd change them for a few games, and in came Savard with somebody and had to move things around. So nothing's written in stone, but Leddy to get the puck out of the zone, and he's got good enough speed and size. I like him. I think it's great, and it can shield. Mo Seider can concentrate on defense when Leddy rushes the puck. So I saw him with the Islanders, and as good as Polak and Pelech and those guys are, and the Islanders are so deep, even then, the way Leddy moved the puck, I like the way he moved it, where you had defensive guys and more structured on the island. But I think he stood out for me there whenever I saw him too.
So again, by the time listeners are hearing this, it'll be post home opener. But for you, Ken, looking forward to Thursday, what's it going to mean for you to be calling a game in an arena with fans again? How does that change the atmosphere for you? Hugely.
The synthetic noise we always thought was strange, and it's very tough to do that. I think when they were in the bubble in Edmonton, especially, the audio guy there, and I'm trying to remember his name now and I can't, but he's very well versed in the game, and they loved him, and he did a great job, because it's not, you've got to anticipate when that shot's just going to miss or go in. It's not like hits the post and then a second later, ooh, you know, you build it up. And that was always strange. And Mickey and I, we'd smile or laugh because it was so obvious, and not just our building, when you heard it in another building, even though we didn't travel off a studio, and you could hear the noise, and it was really weird when it didn't mesh properly. So to me, I can feed off the fans. You know, I don't necessarily love the whoop whoop thing. That sort of is old for me, but, you can feel it, and you try to build as a play-by-play guy. When the puck's coming up the ice, when they're behind their own net, you're not excited. You try to come through. And when the game gets excited and the fans are in there, you can sort of build off them, and you can also lay out. You can let it be quiet. Let the fans bring it a little bit. You know what's going on. So unlike radio, you don't have to talk pass to pass to pass. You can lay out, and that's when the crowd noise fills in. So for me as a play-by-play guy, it just naturally gets you up. So I love it, looking forward to it, and back in the gondola again, and being able to travel with either Mick or Ozzy when Mick doesn't do road games. So, and to be the first game we're doing, to going to Montreal, even though Bert won't be there, we're going to Montreal to be part of that game at the Bell Center Mick's going to make that trip. And then into Chicago, I don't know if there's two better road buildings to call games from than Montreal. You're so close, and Chicago, you're just in the midst of of just loudness. It's great.
Yeah, that's got to be awesome. And it's Montreal's, it's a good lead into, I want to talk about a couple events here that are going to benefit Jamie Daniels Foundation. First one ties in with us, of course, Winged Wheel Podcast Night at the LCA, November 13th. We very specifically picked the Montreal game because that seemed like the easiest 2 points that we could find for the Red Wings.
Well, and you did that before, unfortunately, Carey Price's issues, and you did that before Evans' issues, right? You did that before Weber went down for the year. Yeah. So, or maybe forever, but we hope Carey's okay. It's good that we can talk about that and mental health aspect and what Carey's going through, and he's not alone. And I know Robin Leonard's spoken out. I'm glad. And you mentioned that in the foundation. That's what we're trying to do. We have to continue the conversation. And that night, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be down there to visit. I haven't broached the subject yet with Mick, but I'm sure he'll make his way over to see you guys too. So we're looking forward to that. I think it's wonderful. And again, the foundation thanks you, and I thank you, and you guys do a great job, and you support us, and we'll support you guys where we can.
Oh, I appreciate that. And we're just happy to have the opportunity to support. And then, of course, one more thing here, November 22nd, the roast of Brett Hull is airing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we taped it a few weeks ago. Brian Burke, who was Brett's first agent, now president of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Ken Hitchcock, Stanley Cup winning coach with Brett in 1999. Garth Butcher, who played with Brett. Kelly Chase, who played with Brett. And the relation to Dennis Hall is he's Brett's uncle. So he's in it too. And Darren Pang is hosting the roast portion, and Cintron, Premium Energy Drinks has come on board. You'll see their brand on the boards now at Little Caesars Arena, and great folks there. So they're supporting the roast portion. Delta Dental is our presenting sponsor again. So, with the roast, and we'll also tell the stories, our mission, families who've lost, families who have gone through it, and the survival and what you could do. And when people say, where does the money go? It's we have the Jamie Daniels Memorial Scholarship at Michigan State for those who are at Michigan State and in recovery and perhaps have to leave to go back into rehab. We'll offset the cost of that. We pay for a full-time recovery coach. We're now at Mid-Michigan, Central, Ferris State, and working with the University of Michigan as well. So hopefully by year's end, we'll be in 5 colleges helping one way or another and writing grants. And then we're also, hopefully, by the end of next year of 22, get everything in the political sphere nailed down to build long-term safe recovery housing of 80 units in Oakland County, Michigan. So that's where the funds are going, which your folks, your listeners, so graciously donate to. And the roast of Brett Hull will air November 22nd on Bally Sports Detroit. For those of you in Canada, you can watch it on YouTube or through jamiedanielsfoundation.org. And you can also go there, I believe, starting November 1st at 4 p.m, jamiedanielsfoundation.org. And if it's not that day, it'll be the next day. You click on the auction button and you can sign up. The silent auction will run through noon on the 23rd. So it'll run one day after the roast airs. The roast will air on Bally Sports Detroit, 8 o'clock to 9:30, and then 9:30 to 11 again on November 22nd, a Monday night. The auction will be open until noon the following day. So you can bid, get alerts on your phone when you sign up. And we've got fabulous items I mentioned to you guys before, and plenty of Red Wing tickets and, suite and tickets and club seats for food and parking and golf trips and memorabilia, including I have a photo of Wayne Gretzky signing the early 80s Nielsen chocolate 50 card set, which we're going to have framed beautifully so you can see both sides, and Wayne is signing it. It'll be a beautiful piece. So lots of stuff to be had, many game used sticks, etc. And Mike Tyson signed boxing gloves and a Red Wing guitar signed by Steve Eisenman. So many different things. Check out the auction site. And if you're a Pulp Fiction fan, John Travolta signing the Pulp Fiction poster. That's pretty cool, and it's framed. So lots of stuff. I'm excited for people to check it out. I think hockey fans and non-hockey fans will find many different things to purchase. And I got to tell you, the roast, I was laughing out loud just listening to those guys. And we found through Ian Bagg, who appeared at Jamie's first roast for Mickey, very funny comedian in Los Angeles. And Ian introduced me to Oscar Lafont, who's a an animator in Florida, and he does fantastic work. So we gave him 4 of the stories that were told, and he's animating them for TV. So or on YouTube,
awesome.
which you can watch it. So it'll be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. You know, when we roasted Scotty virtually for Scotty, it was a lot of tributes. For Brett, we're not giving Brett tributes. He's making fun of himself. So there's the comedy factor, and I hope you haven't heard many of the stories that will be told, and we're trying to get some other folks to come on board and tell their stories of Brett too, not just those who've roasted, but and Stephen Page from the Bare Naked Ladies will sing another song where we can honor those who sponsored as well. So pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we can't wait. Thank you, Ken. So again, JamieDanielsFoundation.org. And we'll be putting all this on the Twitter feed on the website as well. So much appreciated. Ken Daniels, lead announcer, Detroit Red Wings. I'm sure you were just listening to him call this the home opener against Tampa Bay. Ken,
did we win? I hope we won.
Well, you know this. You know ahead of time, right? That's how that works?
That's right. I know ahead of time, but I can't.
Yeah. You'll have to tune in to find out. Thanks, Ken, for coming on the show. Talk soon.
Thank you, Ryan. Hi to Brad and Evan.
All right, that was our chat with Ken Daniels. Thank you so much, Ken, for jumping on the show. Really looking forward to the auction. Really looking forward to the roast of Brett Hull. I'm not sure if Ken said it on the interview or otherwise, but when it was the roast of Scotty Bowman, it was a lot of comments like honoring Scotty Bowman. This was a roast of Brett Hull. Like, who's more roastable in the NHL and who will take it better than Brett Hull? Like, that's going to be a good one. And you will have seen, and we'll talk more about this in the future, but we have started in partnership with Prashanth Iyer a campaign to have a season-long fundraiser for the Jamie Daniels Foundation called Wings Money on the Board. How does it work? You pick a player, the whole team, the power play unit, whatever you want to do, an action or event. So for every goal, for every successful penalty kill, for every failed power play, whatever you want to do, and a certain amount of money, and you pledge that amount of money every time that thing happens over the course of the season. For example, one of the pledges was $1 for every Dylan Larkin penalty minute this season from Sarah from Helmroids on Twitter, because she said, well, it looks like I won't be donating anything because Larkin would never. Oops. Thank you for being so charitable, Dylan Larkin and Helmroids. Whatever it is you want to do, I know a lot of people have things about Nedeljkovic saves, or Lucas Raymond goals, Moritz Seider hits. Even if it's 10 cents, $10, $100, whatever it is, it's going to be season long. We're also going to have one-off games to do little spin-off versions, so you can do a pledge just for that game. We'll have jerseys to give away. There will be jersey prizes at the end of the season that you'll be entered into. We'll be giving away stickers, memorabilia, meet and greets with Ken Daniels, less important us, whatever it might be, and more prizes and stuff to come. So stay tuned for that. wingedwheelpodcast.com/blog. Check out that post for more on Wings Money on the Board. We'll give this proper justification when we are not all ass tired passing out at the mics. Okay. In fairness to Evan, I think we should jump into overtime here.
I've been asleep for the past 5 minutes.
What do you mean, in fairness to Evan? Don't I get up before him?
No, but you are just pure energy. You know what it is like? You know
No, I'm not. I just fake it really well.
Being friends with Brad is what it's like to chew 5 gum.
You'll never not know how I'm feeling.
Okay, we're going to jump into overtime. I know we have a ton of questions because that was a crazy game. We won't be able to get to all of them, but I promise we'll try to get to as many as we can. Overtime in the Winged Wheel Podcast midweek episode is brought to you by Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/wingedwheelpod. Jake Bloom, very important, says, what are your preferred hot dog condiments?
Ketchup.
There's people who will kill you for that. I don't get it. I don't understand the whole war.
I welcome the battle. I welcome death.
Okay, we are just so I'm clear. We were talking hot dog and not like sausage or anything. We're just a plain basic hot dog.
Hot dog.
Ketchup and mustard.
Yeah. I do ketchup and mustard. When they give me sauerkraut, I'll do sauerkraut and mustard.
No, sauerkraut only works on sausage. That's why I was asking, because that's my go-to.
I'm for someone who's militant about a lot of foods like pizza and poutine and stuff, I'm pretty open on hot dogs. People have hard opinions on that, though.
No. If you're eating a hot dog, you should not have a hard opinion on anything. You're eating a hot dog. You know what you're doing.
Cody Stark says you're at a steakhouse. What cut are you ordering? What temp? And your 2 sides and drink. Oh, God.
So, okay.
I will take an A5 Wagyu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget anything. It really depends, like, because I get in moods for different types of steaks. I usually find I go rare to medium rare on a top sirloin with garlic mashed potatoes.
Garlic mash has to be.
And then some kind of veggie.
I've seen people order Wagyu and get it rare because they want all their steak rare, but with Wagyu, you're really supposed to go medium rare at least, if not
Just
medium.
let the chef cook it the way they want.
I once had the privilege to get a medium rare Japanese Wagyu, and I'm almost upset I did because no steak has lived up since. I'm like, there's no way it lives up to the hype. It's like $300 for this tiny piece of... Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, yeah.
I'll generally get rare, but if it's a nicer cut like that where there's more fat that needs to render out. If I'm spending enough money on a steak where it's like I'm telling people about it after, my order is I tell the server, however the chef thinks it should be cooked, that's how I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite phrase is my dad gets his steaks like blue rare. I once heard him use the term, if a skilled doctor could save it, put it on a plate for me.
I've had blue rare once. My jaw was hurt.
I was not a fan. I got a piece of his and I'm like, no, never again. And also I can only do rare if I really trust the restaurant.
Mark Chandonnet says, I'm still a fairly new listener, so I'd love to know how you guys all met and how the podcast started. Go Wings.
3 strangers on the internet.
Well, Evan was once taking a naked swim in a fairy glen, and Brad emerged from the earth and said, no, I'm kidding. We just all happened to be in the same city. 2 of us, Brad put out posts on social media. I was also looking to do a podcast thing. We all met up. No one stabbed each other yet. And here we are. It's insane we didn't know each other before, and now we wish we didn't.
All of this is completely true.
Evan has so few regrets in his life, just but one really big one.
Evan has 2 regrets, and he sees them twice a week. Simon says, is it bad if I want the Kraken to struggle their first season? I don't want their fans to turn into Nashville fans thinking they're better than everyone and not understanding hockey.
No, I want the Kraken to succeed. It's fun. Like, I was very much on the Vegas hype wagon when they did what they did in their inaugural season. Also, I'm a fan of growing the game. I'm one of those assholes. We got to grow the game because legitimately the more money hockey gets, the better it is for hockey. So if an expansion team comes in and sucks, that's a lot of missed fans. So yeah, no, I want them to do well. I want them to make the playoffs.
Zoe Holmstrom asked, who do you think will score the first goal this season? I'm still mad it's not Bobby Ryan. I'm going to guess Tyler Bertuzzi. We kind of screwed Zoe over here on this one.
I'm going to agree.
Yeah. Evan actually thinks it's going to be Adam Ernie. Cam Mugford says, loved all the offseason content and can't wait to get the new season started. I know the goalie situation has really improved with Nedeljkovic and drafting Kosa. Question is, what's the update on Philip Larson?
No, I'm changing my answer. Dylan Larkin's going to score the first goal this season.
Oh my God. How did we forget that?
That was like 5 hours ago, man.
Oh my God. We actually forgot Larkin scored. We didn't even talk about the fact that Larkin scored off. Like it was the dirtiest of dirtiest.
Yeah,
goal.
It was a really shitty goal. Nobody should be proud about that.
No, you should be. That's a goal score. That's a hockey goal. That's the goal the coach is most happy about at the end of the night.
What, a goalie just whiffing on a knuckleball from the top of the circle?
You capitalize on it. You crash. You go to the net hard. You crash the net. You make them know that's your
stuff. I have to listen to Canadian hockey media. I hear that shtick enough. Let's get back to proper hockey talk.
What happened to Philip Larson? What's the update on him?
I haven't heard a goddamn thing this year, so I just assume he's dead.
Philip Larson at one point looked poised to jump up the depth chart for the Red Wings, but much like the rest of their depth chart before Kosa was drafted, no one has really seized that opportunity.
The redeeming factor with him is it was mostly due to injury rather than him declining. He just could not string together a couple healthy months and just never seemed to piece it together once the injury started.
He's on loan.
To where?
Hockey Allsvenskan.
Oh, the second Swedish league, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a great sign at this point.
Join the Darksider, who's a new patron. Welcome to the Dub Club. And yes, I am stealing that. Thank you to whoever that was who suggested it. Says, decided to finally support you guys and become a Patreon member. Outside of giving way to Raymond being on the opening night roster, what do you think are the other rippling effects of this team with Verona out? I.e. less or more production from Zadina, Fabry more minutes, etc.
Pick one player in the top 6 that you think is the weakest player in the top 6, and that's the ripple effect.
The ripple effect is Fabry and Zadina aren't bumped out of the top 6. That's exactly it.
Yeah, it would be one or the other. Knowing Blashill, it would be Zadina. So, yeah, I'll say that's the ripple effect.
Taylor Tadgell says, pumped for the season much more in the past few years. Just want to say keep up the great work. Looking forward to the high quality insight and analysis. Go Wings go. See you at the Dub event in November. I'm going to be bringing my Red Wings head covers for Evan to sign. Matt S.
I can just see there's this lineup for Evan at a table to sign everything. While me and you are just kind of standing in the corner like, hi, guys. We're here, too.
We're going to be able to take a nap. It's going to be great. Evan's going to be white.
The mistake number 1 by me.
Like, we're going to have to wear name tags.
No, because that'll make us less likely to be visited. We're going to have to pretend we're Evan. All three of us
don't promise me with a good time.
Matt S says, what a first game back for full fans. LCA was rocking, topped by Bert's Hattie +1, the Larkin Joseph incident. I don't blame Larks for trying to take Joseph's head off. Hopefully it's nothing longer than like a 1 gamer. I would have done the same thing to Joseph. Sad to give up 4 goals in the last 8 minutes. By the way, Ryan, I DM'd Winged Wheel Pod on Twitter for pics of my road trip. Yes, thank you. Sorry, things have been crazy. Everyone, there's a lot of messages I have to reply to. If you've DM'd or emailed or sent us something through the website, I promise you, I've seen it. I will reply to you. We've just been...
I realized I hadn't checked my message requests in like 2 months on Twitter, and then I opened it. I am so sorry, everybody.
Nick Amalfi says, do you think Raymond keeps number 23 or does he switch to 18 once Stahl leaves?
I'll say he keeps it. Guys, it's rare guys switch numbers.
William Nylander just did it, and he's paying for all the changes.
He did it like 3 years ago.
He can afford it, I think.
Again this year.
Wait, what number is he this year?
I can't remember.
I thought he was still 88.
Nylander number switch, right? Or unless it wasn't recently.
No, it was years ago.
Why do I think that was recent?
Because time is a construct that we have completely lost track of.
Oh, God, I'm losing it. Josh Terrell says, is Sabrango progressing faster than expected, or is he just a high floor guy who can handle the early move to the A?
Both.
John Schultz didn't expect to be back in the comments so soon, but Evan mentioned Slipknot and Between the Buried and Me forced my hand. Also, all the other BTBAM fans chiming in here. Who knew there were so many progressive metal brethren in this community? Just another reason among many this place is amazing. Noah and I saw them live at the House of Blues, Chicago in August. Evan and everyone else, go see them live if you get the chance. I thought, have you guys considered renting ice and having a Winged Wheel podcast pickup game at a meetup? Yes, we have. We're just waiting for that to be a little bit more viable now. Noah and I would be in, and yes, we would definitely love to see you both there. Mostly because Noah is cooler than you and a goalie. So that's, like you said, one of them covered. You keep doing you. Love this community. Thank you as always, John. Chad Hiersack says, Danny DeKaiser is only 31 years old. That's all. Hope you guys enjoyed the game.
My God.
We're back, baby. He's only 31.
He's the oldest 31-year-old ever.
I genuinely feel bad. Like, I don't feel good ripping on Danny DeKaiser and saying, like, you know, he's a liability, because that guy's body has just been destroyed.
I thought I was the oldest 31-year-old.
You still might be, honestly. At 10:35.
Yeah, when you looked at a very specific time on the clock and said, "This is when I put my phone down," like
you said that, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
Exactly 1 hour ago.
I am not the oldest person on this podcast. That's
no.
There's no way.
Colorado 14er says, in 2002, I was engaged to a girl from the Etobicoke section of Ontario and got to experience Canadian Thanksgiving with her and her family. While the day was nice, when I was asked by her father at the dinner table what I was thankful for, I expressed my gratitude for the Leafs' elimination by Carolina, as well as my unbridled merriment for the Wings' 3rd cup in 5 years. This was the greatest George Costanza moment of my life. By American Thanksgiving, I was thankful that she agreed to give the ring back. What a twist. Oh my God.
You know what? I always cheer against the Leafs, but I'm actually still mad at Toronto for losing that series to Carolina, because the O2 Cup would have been that much sweeter if we beat Toronto in the finals to get it.
I do agree, but you don't tempt fate. You can't change history.
Yeah, Toronto also screwed over the hockey world from a Montreal-Toronto final in 1993. We don't forget you screwing everything up, Toronto.
Evan Beckner says, just want to say thank you to everyone in the fantasy league that let me have Brady Tkachuk with my 4th pick. Jaakko Ruta says, hello from Helsinki in Udenman Makunta. It is yet another season to get disappointed by various Red Wings players. So here are some easy over-unders. Philip Zadina, 49.5 points.
I'll say under, but not by much. He is on pace for 82 currently.
I'll say under. Lucas Raymond, 9.5 games.
Oh, bite me. Over. He held water against the best team in the world tonight.
I'll say over.
I'm going to go with the over too. Moritz Seider, 25.5 points. I'm going to go on the under here.
I'm going over.
I'll go over too.
Ooh.
2 points tonight, and he was getting he was quarterbacking the second power play unit. That's not nothing.
Dylan Larkin, 62.5 points.
Under.
Well, if he keeps throwing haymakers, it won't be an over.
I'm taking the over. I believe in Dylan. Giovanni Smith, 5.5 fights. I don't think he'll play enough for 6 fights. So
if he didn't get in a scrap tonight, he's not getting in many.
Steve Eisman, 4.5 trades. Under. Kyle Kraggett says, to open the Red Wings season, my daughter was born. Everyone is healthy. Let's go Red Wings. Kyle, congratulations. Very happy to hear that everyone is healthy. We got to get her in a Winged Wheel podcast onesie. I'm glad she was born on a night where at least the game was entertaining, albeit a loss. Third Man In says, so happy to see hockey is back on ESPN, and holy hell, the ESPN Plus web player is hot garbage. YouTube TVs is miles ahead, and honestly, so is NHL Center Ices, and it crashed on me at least once a game. Anyways, looking forward to another season with you goofs in the Dub Dub Club. Hopefully that improves.
TNT's broadcast was fun. I was absolutely here for Wayne Gretzky taking a shootout on Charles Barkley.
I thought both ESPN and TNT did a good job.
Yeah, like that was the exact type of nonsense I was hoping for with the broadcast switch over. Like as soon as I saw just like the thumbnail of Charles Barkley in goalie gear, I'm like, I'm in.
Slava Gerasimchuk said, just had a baby boy on August 27th. So many babies. Congratulations, Slava. A future Wings fan. How do I get a Winged Wheel onesie when I try to open the product page? The site freezes. That's excellent to hear. DM us on Twitter. I'll help you out. Andrew Fortier says, very disappointed to hear Evan doesn't like football. What does he do all weekend? He golfs.
Yes.
That's what Evan does all weekend. And when you say, what does he do in the winter? We can only assume hibernate.
Oh, don't worry. I'm buying a launch monitor.
I just assumed you went to those indoor golf clubs all the time.
I don't have to with a launch monitor. I'll have one in my own home.
Oh my God.
However, I'm a little jealous because it means the Lions don't break his heart every Sunday. Yeah, that's why he can live with himself.
I have a solution for you.
I just watched a Red Wings game that seemed like it was on brand to be a Lions game.
Obi-Wan Kenobi says it's so good to be back. Andrew says, I can't wait to see you on November 13th. Obi-Wan Kenobi says, so good to be back, violently crushing $13 beers at the LCA. I don't even care if we score a goal tonight. Babe Landeskog says, I managed to get both Seider and Raymond on my fantasy team. Hope it pays off. Have you guys ever tried your own version of a prospect pyramid like Dangle or something similar? We've talked about it. We should. I think we've been waiting for the right time to do it, and it was probably last summer.
I mean, we do prospect rankings every year. Same shit.
Yeah, but pyramids are a shape. And
I'm going to do a pyramid, not a rainbow. I'm going to do a prospect rainbow. I don't know what any of the lines will mean. It'll just be names.
We are jumping into sleep territory, so we're going to try and squeeze a few more in here. AJ Voss says, what would be the first 3 things you would do if you're given the job of the president of the Red Wings and had a total say in both hockey and business ops? Seats, red. Jersey ads, find someone who will pay to leave a blank and promo the hell out of them everywhere else. And the third thing is Barber Pole, 3rd jersey.
I'm going Barber Pole, 3rd jersey, new coach, and red seats.
In terms of hockey ops, I don't care. Steve's got it under control. Stevie Langerman says, happy opening day. Couldn't be more stoked for the season. I found out I won't be able to make Winged Wheel podcast night. I'm bummed. I play in a hockey tournament on an outdoor rink in the mountains. Yeah, that's a good enough excuse.
Is it?
I'll be with the Dub Dub Club in spirit. Are you guys able to watch the ESPN and TNT broadcasts?
Depends. Some yes, most no.
But thought they were great, and we'll be chatting more about them next
Yeah,
podcast.
any national game in the States we get. So for the most part, I have Rogers NHL Center Ice, so I get access to all of them, but most Canadians won't.
Red Wing Dingaling says, so is Robbie Fabry currently the hottest Red Wing? And Vaxxed, Waxed, and Blocked from Evan's Hot Tub Time Machine says, your mom's the hottest Red Wing. So thank you for that exchange. 2022 Jack Adams winner Jeffrey Blashill Stan Club says, Ken Daniels saying, as he gets more confident, Seider will get more and more hits, or should I say Mo and Mo hits, followed up by 30 seconds of radio silence is the pinnacle of broadcasting. Poor Ken. There are more comments here. I'm so sorry. I want to get to all of them. We'll make it up to you next episode. Maybe we'll take more. We'll do something Patreon exclusive. We'll figure it out. But for now, we do have to wrap up this episode of the Winged Wheel podcast so we can get to sleep and so our significant others don't kill us. Everyone, the Red Wing season is back. Thank you all so much for tuning in. What a chaotic first game. What a chaotic day. Even if it's a loss, we hope that the team and the team and the Red Wings are at the very least exciting. Moritz Seider was exciting. Lucas Raymond was exciting. Dylan Larkin, for one reason or another, was exciting. So here's to that continuing and for it to be 81 more games of fun. Although maybe not this much fun. Evan may not survive that.
No, I won't.
We want to thank all of our listeners, our name-level sponsors, Arjun Shankar, Yves Bartels on behalf of the Sarah Grand Foundation, Kyle Karagitz, Nick Perks, Brett Bailey, Terry Driver of Crying Ryan, Hannah's Banana Slam at Jamathong, Taylor Tadgell, Brandon M., Matthew M. Rice, Arjun Shankar, I'm all backwards, Carl Brutina, Nanaluski, Citizen High Five, CJ Sully, Clayton Van Dyken, Craig Kibble, Derek Enstom, DJ Denton, Give Blood, Fight Probert, Greach, Hana Lee, Hassam Al-Qassem, Jacob Turner, Jake Kiefer, Jeremiah Dobo, Justin and the Angry Mob, Kalen Wood, King Tone, Cody Stark, Kyle Hashman, Kyle McClure, My Balls Itch, Matt McKay, R.A., Revan Lobsaber, Ryan Hubbard, Scott Martin, Stacy Lynn, Stove Iserplane, Joe Santangelo, Vaxxed, Waxed, and Blocked from Evan's Hot Tub Time Machine, Zach Spring, Andrew Bohan, Sam Bankson, Adam I Wish I Could Finish Like Ernie, Antonio Gracias, Babe Landeskog, Colorado 14ers, Connor Leighton, Dave W., Dylan Larkin's Fat Ass, Evans Bingo Card, Jeremy Brocker, John Evans, Josh Yelton, Kevin McCracken, Quaz, Matt Keeler, Matt S., Max $1 million, Reed, Revi DeLuca, Trevor Pevivar, Zach Handyside, and Zach McCann, a driving range superstar. Take care, everyone. Get some sleep.
Thanks for tuning in to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Be sure to check out wingedwheelpodcast.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll also find links to other ways to support the show, such as Patreon, official podcast apparel, and more. And don't forget to follow the show on Twitter at Winged Wheel Pod. And of course, the hosts at Brad Crisco, at Ryan Hanna WWP, and at Hockey Town Evan.